This episode of Conducting Pills will analyze the famous, luscious, gorgeous Intermezzo from Puccini's Manon Lescaut. Hi, I'm Gianmaria Griglio, I'm a conductor and a composer, and welcome to this new episode of Conducting Pills, a series where we look into a classical piece or a part of it and outline its structure and phrasing, orchestration, and harmony, with a bonus technical tips for conductors. I want to take a second to remind you that on my website you can find more than 70 videos now between score and technical analysis, the full episodes of Conducting Pills on top of live sessions, and plenty of other material. And now, let's begin. Inspired by the novel by Antoine-François Prévost's History of the Chevalier de Griglio and Manon Lescaut of 1731, the work was composed between the summer of 1889 and October 1892. To lengthen the time of composition was, above all, the difficult gestation of the libretto that passed into the hands of many writers, in particular Marco Praga, Domenico Oliva, Giuseppe Giacosa, and Luigi Illica, and Ruggero Leoncavallo, the very same composer with whom Puccini would have a querelle a few years later about his next opera, La Bohème. Puccini took some musical elements in Manon Lescaut from earlier works he had written. For example, the madrigal Sulla vetta tu del monte from Act 2 echoes the Agnus Dei from his 1880 Messa a quattro voci. Other elements of Manon Lescaut come from his composition for strings, for instance, the quartet Crisantemi, written for the death of Amelia of Savoy in January 1890, became an integral part of the last act. And the love theme comes from the aria Menti all'avviso of 1883. The famous love duet between Manon and the Griglio forms the basis for the Intermezzo, opening the third act, which became one of Puccini's most popular symphonic frescoes. The color of the piece is clear from the few introductory bars of the Lento, espressivo, violas and cellos divisi, plus a solo violin for a couple of bars. The atmosphere is mysterious, dark, made unstable by the chromaticism. Everything is enriched by a large number of indications in the score, con espressione, sostenendo, espressivo, plus a plethora of crescendo and diminuendo. This is all part of Puccini's composing fingerprints, push and pull, huge leaps of expressivity and the art of rubato, something I talk more about in the technical episode. At the Andante calmo, the sadness weeps in. The upper woodwinds, doubled by the violas, carry out the melodic line in a downwards progression spanning 7 bars in a 3+2+2 structure. The accompaniment is offered by a carpet of harp arpeggios colored by the pizzicato of the violins, cellos, and basses. The second part of the phrase moves up, reinforced by the horn and the bassoon, and notice the answer in the cellos, marked espressivo con anima. The phrase closes in diminuendo, calando, which refers to both the dynamic and the tension. This gives way to a fortissimo subito where the melody is taken over by the strings minus the double basses, who sustain the harmony. 6 bars, and we're back to pianissimo, where the strings are now joined by the flutes, an oboe, and the bassoon. Notice the first 2 bars. The line starts high and moves down. Its speed is naturally increased by the use of triplets, bringing the line back up, while the syncopation over the bar line increases the tension. The model turns into an 8 bars model, constantly raising the tension. Notice how the arpeggios of the harp have now moved to the clarinets, while the harp itself has chords on the second beat of each bar. The texture is thickened by the 3 horns playing alternating off beats, 8 notes and syncopations. And there's an extra line which Puccini wants to be heard as he marks it sensibile, played by the English horn, second bassoon and first horn. Nothing, however, can take the attention away from the swirling, passionate vortex of the strings. The most difficult aspect conducting-wise is the rubato. In this part alone, the first phrase is marked movendo, which means moving, but the following phrase is marked sostenendo. It's a game of push and pull. To get the most out of it, you need to anticipate the orchestra so that they have time to react. However, in order for it to be seamless and not sound forceful, have in mind clearly where you want to go and allow yourself enough room to get there. The temperature rises with one more phrase in movendo and another in sostenendo. Trumpets and trombones join in while the horns double the melody. The last repetition is only for half of the phrase, which explodes in the fortissimo of the full orchestra. Everything gets amplified, including the 8 notes, triplets, which now morph into quarter note triplets, exaggerating the allargando. Within 2 bars, we are back to pianissimo, entering a new section. But after only 2 bars, we are sucked back into a passionate outburst of the strings doubled by the upper woodwinds. Things calm down, the orchestration thins out, heading towards the end of the symphonic page, but we have a few more flares. The cellos in a forte appassionato are imitated by the violins, while the woodwinds close the phrase in piano and pianissimo. The triplet element returns in this very last section, leading for a moment to one last fortissimo before closing in a quadruple piano. Notice how the motive is passed from a combination of piccolo, clarinet and harp to the cellos, English horn, clarinet and horn, moving down to a clarinet and bassoon, and finally to a pizzicato of the double basses. If you want to hear the full duet, I suggest the 1954 recording with Mario del Monaco and Renata Tebaldi with the Orchestra of Santa Cecilia, conducted by Francesco Molinari Pradelli. Look in the description for the link. It's priceless. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel by clicking on the subscribe button right below the video and ring the bell so you will get notified every time a new video comes out. For more score analysis videos and for more conducting technique, you can check out my website and follow my Facebook group. All the links are in the description. Let me know in the comments what you think about this piece and if you have any suggestions for future videos, and I'll look forward to seeing you next week with a new episode of Conducting Pills, when we will go through another intermezzo, one from Franz Schrecker's Der Schatzgräber. In the meanwhile, please continue to enjoy music and be well. Ciao! A few technical aspects of it that can help you out. The main one being the ability to anticipate, or you can change the pulse. Changing the pulse allows you to change the speed, which in combination with the speed of the baton will